Hey everyone, I'm meant to be making a case for who is going to be the wide receiver one in fantasy scoring or PPR scoring in 2021. And this is an idea from Addison Hayes from the DLF YouTube channel, and this is my segment of it, in which I'm going to argue what chance does Calvin Ridley have to be the wide receiver one. Now, there's a list of top 12 players, obviously, and I chose Calvin Ridley before the Julio Jones trade. So just saying, I was here before it was cool. But also, the Julio Jones trade is actually my main concern with Calvin Ridley's potential to be the wide receiver one in Dynasty. So we're going to have to talk about that a little bit. But to start off with, making my case for Calvin Ridley as wide receiver one in 2021, that's going to get annoying. Let me list some names. Through the first 3 years of their career, who do you think has had a better career? Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown, Julio Jones, or DJ Moore? You probably guessed it, since this is a video about Calvin Ridley. Yeah, it's Calvin Ridley. Through the first 3 years of their career, he earned a higher opportunity and was better on that opportunity of all four of those wide receivers. He had 1.5 yards per team attempt, 19% opportunity score, 9.5 targets per game. All of those are higher than all four of those other wide receivers. He also averaged 1.8 yards per snap, which means when he's on the field, he's getting more yards for the team than any of those other four wide receivers, who I think are more often valued more highly than him. I really think some people don't think Calvin Ridley has that potential to be the top wide receiver next year. And he really does. This also shows that someone like DJ Moore, who hasn't yet broken into the top 12, even though Calvin Ridley was, and one of the best cases for Calvin Ridley being the wide receiver one, by the way, is he's already been a top 5 wide receiver. Like, none of the other wide receivers I just mentioned have done that through the first 3 years of the career. Something like 90% of wide receivers who have top 12 seasons do it by year 3, and Calvin Ridley hit top 5. DJ Moore hasn't yet got there. It doesn't mean he can't get there, but it means Calvin Ridley has a stronger case to have higher scoring moving forward, despite both of them actually having more opportunity and being more efficient on that opportunity than AJ Brown or Julio Jones. And the fact that Julio Jones and AJ Brown don't show up well in yards per team attempt, or as well, and yards per team, yards per snap or opportunity score tells you something about how useful these numbers are. They give us some idea of what a player has done through the first 3 years of their career, but it is not the be-all and end-all of who is and what is good. It's just good. It's just nice to know that Calvin Ridley has done the best of some of the best wide receivers we have seen enter the league through the first 3 years of the career. And I think that's somewhat missed when we value them and think of them as potential wide receiver ones in Dynasty next year. Now, what I want to talk to you about to get this video under 20 minutes, because Addison wanted it to be 3 minutes long and we just skipped right past that deadline, is that this year 3 25% target share breakup year was when Julio Jones wasn't on the field. And I think that's how some people are going to misread that Julio Jones trade. The fact is that Calvin Ridley's blow-up last year happened while Julio Jones was on the field. It's not consecutively, it's not he took over the role after Julio Jones was not there last year. It happened concurrently. It was at the same time. Week 1, 2020 season, they were both top 12 wide receivers. Calvin Ridley was a wide receiver 2, Julio Jones was a wide receiver 8. Following on to week 6, when they were again both on the field, Calvin Ridley was wide receiver 10, Julio Jones was wide receiver 2. Week 7, Calvin Ridley was wide receiver 15, Julio Jones was wide receiver 18. When they were both on the field and healthy and playing really well, Calvin Ridley's breakout or blow-up year had already happened. This wasn't something that required Julio Jones being gone. It was something that is in some way probably aided by it, which is why his numbers likely show up as more efficient through the first 3 years than someone like AJ Brown or Julio Jones himself, who didn't have someone else as dominant on the other side of the field, although Julio Jones had Roddy White for a while, and to help him out. So this has already happened. This is the new normal. Calvin Ridley is a top 12 wide receiver, and he did it while Julio Jones was sucking up 20% of the team's targets. Now, the problem in 2021 is that Julio Jones was sucking up 20% of the targets, and that likely helped Calvin Ridley and everyone else on the team. So what I've done for the 2021 projections is that I've ranked his efficiency back. He was getting a touchdown for every 152 yards last year, and I've moved that up because they're going to have less scoring opportunities without Julio Jones. They just are. I've also pulled his receiving efficiency back and his catch efficiency back because he's going to be the main wide receiver with less help from Julio Jones, and so I think he's going to be less efficient. I think his volume has already been established last year, so I don't think he's going to get the wide receiver 1 role now Julio Jones is gone. I think they were 1A and 1Bing it already, so he's going to get 26% of the targets, and even pulling his efficiency back to a human level, he was still a top 12 wide receiver with Julio Jones there. With Julio Jones gone, he's going to be less efficient, he's still going to get the volume, and he's already been a top 5 wide receiver last year. So, yes, he definitely could be the wide receiver 1 in 2021, which did get annoying. And I think that potential is probably underrated of those top 12 wide receivers in Dynasty right now, because we think of him as connected to Julio Jones, when really this happened concurrently. This happened at the same time. Calvin Ridley already made it happen. So, yeah, that's my case for Calvin Ridley as wide receiver 1 next season. There we go, found a way around it. Let me know what you think. Who's your wide receiver 1, I guess, is the thing I say now. Thanks. Bye.